Hi, greetings. I'm Bob Menard. I'm your instructor for NOS110, Operating System Concepts for the spring semester. I want to introduce myself to you, welcome you to the course. For those of you who are first-time students to online, um, this will be a challenge for you. I hope that you get an opportunity to go visit the learning centers on any of the campuses to find some help getting started. It's a different way of learning, and I strongly suggest that you do that as quick as you can so you don't get frustrated. That's the purpose for me bringing this up. Seated classes obviously my favorite, and they are for students as well. It gives us a chance to develop relationships with students. We learn from them. We have my classes and my courses, we actually learn more from my students, I think, than I do from any other source. I teach security and networking classes. I'm on campus during the week, Monday through Friday. I'm usually there around 7 o'clock, and I usually get off campus sometime between 1 and 2. My online classes, as well as my seated and hybrid courses, I'm available usually on the weekends for a little bit to check messages and email and so forth, and catch up with y'all when you've got issues. This is a short bit that I'm giving you to kind of just get an overview of me, and not an overview of me, but what my expectations are, I think, and what you should expect from yourself, kind of an attitude setup, I guess. I heard students complain that the majority of their online courses are kind of a joke, even some of the seated classes. My goal is to make sure this course for you is not a joke and that you get something from it. The worst thing we can do is waste your time. The majority of your CIT majors, you're going to wind up playing a support role at some point. And what you bring to an organization's business process is expertise that is needed for different elements of it. And you have an opportunity to bring value by applying the things that you know and the things that you keep up with. The next largest chunk of you are programming majors, and you'll be creating value by actually writing code and creating programs that actually do things. Those are things I've done over the years, decades ago, but you are sitting on the way I sit, on a frontier of something that's wholly different. The culture is different, the technology is different, and a lot of ways I kind of wish I were with you where you are now, jumping off into this, because it's not just a bright future. It's exciting, in my opinion, and offers a lot of opportunity to have some fun, I guess, but at the same time make some money and build a career. This course, it has 80 hours of work that's been programmed into it, and that's 5 hours a week. I don't know where students sometimes get 5 hours a week. They have children to take care of, adult parents, for example, to take care of. Many of them work 40 plus hours a week. Many of them carry full loads, upwards of 18 to 20 hours of coursework in a semester, which is a lot. And I don't know how they do it, but they manage somehow one way or the other to do it. But there are 80 hours of work that you've got in this class, from the beginning, this orientation, all the way to the final exam. There's basically 3, 4, or 5 different kinds of work in it. First, we'll focus on the text just a little bit. Read the text, you'll study the text. I pay you to do that by giving you some points for taking some quizzes. There's some fill-in-the-blank questions, I think an average of 5 per chapter, and then of course you've got the usual multiple choice guessing games that go with it. Those are all computer graded. And I value that, and that's the way that it's a substitute for the lectures in some regards, but it's also practice for you to get ready for your certifications that you're going to wind up getting someday. The next thing I have students do in terms of work, and I do this in all my sections for all my courses, is I get them involved in industry news, and I actually pay you to read it and write about it and post it on a weekly basis. So if you have 15 of those that you'll have to do, we have 5 sources of news readings online that you can use, and I think you'll enjoy that part of it. Another component of the class is reflecting on what you've actually learned at the end of each chapter. We have journals. I have 2 journals, for example, one for your lab work, which we'll talk about in a second. But when you've read this chapter, you've studied it, you've done the exercises, the test and the fill in the blank stuff, maybe some of the lab. At the beginning of each chapter, there's a list of objectives that are set forth, and it'll say, at the end of this chapter, students should be able to do this. And what I ask you to do is keep a journal of that and actually write about what you learned and address those points that are made at the beginning. They actually pay you to do it. There's a large number of points associated with that. Now, the practice of writing, the practice of thinking about what you've done in your own words, not just regurgitating or copying what's out of the text, is part of that didactic learning approach where you actually become the person doing the teaching. Because you wind up going back and reviewing, and the stuff becomes more cemented in your knowledge base. The last thing that I'll mention in terms of points that you'll form of work that you'll be doing that's included in that is our set of labs that we call them labs. It's more of just an exploration on your part. For example, the first chapter you'll be exploring the Windows user interface in Windows 7 or if you've got an XP or something. The text is not set up for Windows 8, but that really shouldn't be a problem for you. But you'll get a chance to actually explore some portions of the Windows operating system user interface, the control panel, for example. I'll ask you to go explore and just simply tell me, journal what you find. Use some screenshots, and it's that exploration and trying things out that you haven't seen before. That's a habit that we all develop in this business, and it's a good place to do it. The thing we don't do well is the documentation of it, and my students will tell you that the bane of our business, the thing that gets us all in trouble, myself included, is documentation. So it's a journaling part of that I'll give you some points for. So those are the kinds of work. Every week you're going to need a minimum of 5 hours to get this stuff done, and if you stay with it and keep up with it, you'll do just fine. I want to tell you that the students in our sections, and this is becoming more universal across our division, we're pulling the training wheels off a little bit in some of these courses. I do in mine, where, for example, if your computer breaks during the middle of the week and you can't seem to get it fixed in time to meet a deadline, we want students to set up option plans, alternatives for those kinds of things when they happen, because you're going to have it. There's no credit for missed deadlines. There's no makeup work. There's no extra credit stuff. So if you miss a deadline for an assignment, it's just missed points. But there's so much of it that one or two of these isn't going to kill you as far as your grade's concerned. But you have to have the attitude that you can manage it, you can learn it, you can fix it, and you can stay ahead of what we call Murphy's Law, where what does go wrong will go wrong, what can go wrong will go wrong. And so if you need some help putting some of those plans together, let me know. We've got labs on campus you can use. You just need to work ahead. In most cases, just simply stay ahead a week or half a week, and then you can work those problems out. The other part of it is that many times you'll get frustrated. You'll be trying something and it won't work, and you have to find a workaround. I encourage you to do that, and more importantly, journal it. Keep track of it, and then share that in your journals, and I'll be able to help you just a little bit with it. But more importantly, you'll find ways to collaborate with other students, and you'll wind up using, of course, the web a lot to solve some of those. Last, I want to let you know that I love spending time with students. I spend most of my time in the labs with them. I live in CET 106 and 221. The students have built those labs. They've built the computers. They've built all the racks. They've configured the switches and the servers and everything we do in there, the camera systems. That's where we hang out. And you're welcome to come visit, spend time with us. If you need a place to work, let me know, and we can try to maybe accommodate some of you when you are on campus. But I want you to feel like this is also part of your home, even though this course, the way it's set up, is online. This is something different that I haven't done in the past with students, but I find a lot of them are on campus during the week that have in a fully online class, and there's really no reason why we can't share those resources with them. There's some rules we have about it, but I can stay within those and keep you, more important, keep all of us out of trouble. So again, welcome to the class, and we'll move on. There's another video coming up, and that will detail more about some of the navigation, some of the parts of the blackboard.